They Took Me In, a character story from the book The King's Daughter and Other Stories. Who is she? I couldn't say. She's a stranger here, I think. Yes, she lives in that little house down by the bridge, you know. Girls, that tiny bit of a house covered with that white rose. Oh, where we always got such lovely flowers to decorate with because no one else lived there. Why, the house is almost tumbled down. How could anyone live there? No one would if they weren't poor. Of course, you can tell by the girl's clothes that she is very poor. Come on, girls, never mind talking about her, said one of the group impatiently. What difference does it make to us who she is? We will be late. And the troop of merry girls passed on down the street. Meanwhile, the little person who they were talking about was hurrying in another direction, her eyes blinded with tears that had sprung to them when the wistful glance she had cast at the girls had been met with only cold curiosity. It is hard to be so lonely, she murmured, but I must not let Mamma know. The girls went on their way, unconscious of that sad look or unthinking that they had caused her. Nellie Ross had noticed, however, and she was thoughtful all afternoon. How must it feel, she wondered, to be alone among strangers? As they were returning home towards night, she whispered to her friend, Do you know, Mabel, I cannot help thinking of that girl that we saw this morning. What girl? Asked Mabel Willis, with a slightly puzzled air. Why, the one that Margaret said lived in the little cottage, you know. Oh, yes. What about her? Well, she just looked at us so sadly, and I never see her with anyone. She must be so lonely. So? Well, you know what the Bible says. I was a stranger, and you took me not in. This girl is a stranger, and don't you think that we could apply that verse? Just what are you thinking of, Nellie? Asked her friend. I was thinking that maybe we could go visit her and ask her to join our Sabbath school class, and that might open up the way. Mabel laughed. You always were a regular little missionary, Nellie, but I hardly believe that I cared to go with you or have anything to do with that little girl, she said with a shrug of her shoulders. Nellie was disappointed, but she said no more, for she had learnt the usefulness of arguing with Mabel, so she determined to make the little visit alone. Nellie felt timid as she presented herself at the tiny home the next afternoon. The girl herself answered the knock and invited her in to the small living room. In an easy chair at one side of the fireplace reclined a delicate, sweet-faced woman. Hi, my name is Nellie Ross, and I have noticed you and thought that you might be a stranger here, began Nellie, in a wonderful way that had always won her many friends. And so I thought that I would call on you and ask you if you'd like to join our Sabbath school class. We have such good times, and Mrs. Allen, our teacher, is so interesting. Oh, I would like to go, the girl faltered, but they are all such strangers to me. And, oh, that won't matter, declared Nellie. I will come for you and will introduce you to the rest of the girls. I thank you, my dear, said the woman, before the girl could answer again. I'm sure Edna will be glad to go. It has been rather a difficult time for her, I fear, since we came here, although she has never complained for fear that it might worry me, her poor, sick mummy. She was always in church and Sabbath school work at home before we moved here, but my health has failed, and my doctor said a winter here might save my life. My husband could not come with me, for he must work at home to get money to pay our expenses, so Edna gave up her school and everything to come look after me. We are compelled to live very cheaply, you see, but I am getting better, and I think I shall be quite well soon. If only Edna could be happy here. With a fond glance at her daughter, said the woman. Of course I shall be contented here, Mamma, replied Edna. I'm sure she will like the Sabbath school very much, said Nellie earnestly, and I will come for her tomorrow. And she did so just as she promised, and Edna went with her, although she felt a little shy. But the warm welcome given her by Mrs. Allen and the friendliness of the girls soon made her feel at home. It was not until the school joined in singing the last song that she so far forgot herself as to join in with the singing. Then the girls were astonished. She sang alto beautifully. Really, cried one of them, as soon as they were dismissed. You must join our young people's choir, won't you? We do need an alto so badly. And from that time on, Edna had no cause for loneliness, for she was one of the girls, and her mother smiled and grew better eventually. So boys and girls, I encourage you as well, who can you be a good friend to? Sometimes we find friends in the most unlikely people, but we should always shine God's love to others and be kind and friendly. If you'd like to know how to find all of our stories, type Living Books for World Changes into the YouTube search bar, press go, select Living Books for World Changes videos, and you can find all our stories there. We upload new stories every Thursday. We love sharing stories with you. Come back and don't forget to like and subscribe.